We'll now open the Licensing Commission meeting. First action is the approval of the minutes from February 20th. We will table that until we have an opportunity to review them. So we'll move on right to item number one, which is Suffolk Pawnbroker.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Sika for Suffolk Pawn. Put in the application for a second-hand license to go in hand with our pawn license.
Now this is an amendment to the existing second-hand dealer's license. Currently, you have you're operating as a pawnbroker.
In the process, correct.
Correct. And you're applying now to buy and sell second-hand merchandise.
Exactly.
Right.
Kind of works in hand with the pawn.
Okay. So the distinction between the two is on a pawnbroker, you're accepting merchandise as collateral against the property.
Exactly.
And going forward with this additional license, you'll be buying and selling.
Correct. If the owner would choose to sell, we could figure out a way of doing that. Great. As opposed to loaning out.
So what are your plans in terms of opening and going forward? I noticed that
it could broaden the business. Like I said, they kind of work hand in hand with the pawn license. If somebody has no use for an object, whether it's musical instruments, sporting goods, audio, video equipment, if they have no need for it and find an easy way out of selling it, that could help us out in terms of broadening our business.
Great. Any questions?
Are you presently open now?
No. We are still in the process. Office furniture, everything is in design, computer software to manage the business.
When would you plan on opening?
We would like to plan on opening probably sometime towards the end of the summer.
Okay. So this really is a license that was approved at our last meeting?
Correct.
And you're coming up for an amendment on that license?
Correct.
This is not, as we say, to open a new gold, to sell gold. It's an existing business that was approved last month.
Yes.
And you're just adding this. Okay, I just want to make clarification.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I noticed from Lieutenant Mandula at this point in time that you don't have any signage up or...
No, correct.
And at some point you're going to do something.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't have any questions.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion, unless there's someone that would like to speak.
Are there any proponents who want to speak on this matter?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Furlong, and residing at 45 Lancaster Avenue in Revere. I'd just like to be recorded as being in favor of the issuance of this license. The petitioner has been a very reputable concern, doing business in the city of Revere for many, many years, and have been contributing to the youth movement and other charitable institutions. So I think they'd be an asset to the community, and highly recommend you amend this license to include a second-hand license with it. Thank you.
Are there any other proponents that want to speak on this issue? Are there any opponents that want to speak on this issue? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion, I approve.
Motion's passed.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Second item on the agenda is the American Legion Club. No, I don't believe so. Yeah. We'll move that to the end of the meeting for now. Item number 3 is LNA Corporation doing business as China Roma. Please,
Paul Musto, LNA Corporation.
Thank you. So you're applying for a new liquor license, entertainment.
Right, correct.
Okay. Could you give us some background in terms of what your plan is going
Just
forward?
operating it like we did for the past 50 years, Joe.
Have you made any changes to the existing floor
No,
plan?
no. Other than the one we did before we put that small room in there, but it's opened up now.
Okay. So
The dining room's the same dining room.
it is. Okay. Any other questions?
Have we had all the approvals from the departments?
I don't know, I have a packet here from Cronin Compliance, and
Are
It's
they all
already-
signed off?
I don't know if they signed off or not. I have to ask Joan that, I guess.
Are all the
departments signed?
inspection services signed off of?
Yeah, we
It's a
should-
matter of
it's on
just,
the
I have to
agenda
give
for that.
a check to Joan afterwards, I guess.
Okay, and I guess there aren't many questions to ask. I think anybody that lives in the city knows the China Roma.
Exactly.
So I don't have any questions.
All right. Are there any proponents that want to speak on behalf of China Roma?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please state your name for the record, please.
William Bell, 420 Revere Beach Boulevard. I don't want to date myself, but the first gentleman there on the picture took me there when I was a young man in the 60s. And so I know the China Roma very well, when he was probably a little guy. So I like to speak in favor of the transfer, the issuance. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other proponents that want to speak on this matter? Any opponents that want to speak on this matter? Hearing and seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the license on the contingency of making sure we have all of the paperwork. Okay, great.
I'll second the motion.
Second the motion, approve.
Let's approve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 4 is the Sons of Revere LLC doing business as the Sons of Revere.
How you doing? David Lightbody, 48 Charger Street, Revere.
Great. And you're applying for an all-alcohol license, common victuals license, and entertainment license? Is that
Correct.
Okay. Can you give me a little background on what your plan is?
We wanted to keep it exactly the same as it was in the past. It was a technicality when I didn't transfer the license properly, so now I'm going through the proper roadways to get it back
Great.
the same way as it was before.
Can you just give us a little bit of background for those who have not frequented?
It's an all-alcohol, just club license. It's a members-only club. We do not have live music. We're going to operate under the same hours operation, 11 to 1, 7 days a week. We do charitable events. We have a lot of things that we run out of there, golf tournaments, stuff like that, of that nature. It's an older men's club. It's been there. We just kind of want to keep it the same exact way as
Yep.
it's been.
Do you have any experience in?
Yeah,
dealing
I
with
run the
this?
Boulevard Bar on Revere Beach Boulevard as well.
Great. And these are going to be two separate operating entities?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So this is a new license. You've never had a license at this location?
No, I haven't. The license that was there before, I applied for a change of manager, and I was supposed to have done a new license as opposed to the change of manager, and I wasn't notified correctly from the ABC until recently, and they revoked the license, and now I had to reapply under a new.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah,
You're
that's
not
right.
coming back a second time for license. You've never had a license?
No, not at that address. No, I haven't.
Okay, and how much time are you going to be spending there as manager?
About 25 hours a week.
About 25 a week?
25.
Okay. Thank you. You can't hear?
If you could speak a little louder, that'd be great.
Okay.
David, quick question. How long have you had this establishment?
This is myself personally. This is the. I've been there since May.
Okay.
I've been working hand in hand with the ABC with proper filing paperwork, which seemed to be moot because I was applying for a change of manager as opposed to the change of the new license. So
Yep.
I've been there since May.
Okay. It's from what you've seen, the neighbors have no issues with neighbors or any
I haven't had
other
any-
business establishment. I think been
No,
pretty
sorry.
good.
I haven't had any kind of issues with anybody in the past.
Great. Yeah. So, I mean, they've been around for a long time, so I'm glad someone's taken that place and getting it, continue its operation, because I think it's good to have
Yeah, I mean, there's a
entertainment
lot-
establishments for people to go and,
There's a lot that can be done there. We're going to be getting away from the Sons of Italy
yeah.
because it's just too much money goes towards the lodge, and we can't do enough for charitable things or scholarship funds that we wanted to do personally, and that's what they wanted to do in-house, so it works out better this way anyway.
Yeah, great.
Any other questions? Exactly. Are there any people who want to speak in behalf of the Sons of Revere? Are there any opponents? Hearing. Hi, please state your name, please. Address.
Please, excuse me, please put your mic on.
Is that better? Okay. My name is Nancy Nicosia. I'm speaking on behalf of my parents who live in the abutting property. Sorry, we just couldn't hear, so I just wanted to clarify some issues. We noticed that there was a change in the name of the club from Sons of Revere to Sons of Italy. I'm sorry, the other way around. Just wanted to clarify if this was an entirely new club or if it was the same individuals who would be members? Same
Yes,
individuals.
please step up to the mic, please.
It'll be the same exact individuals, just a different name altogether.
Their other question was whether the license was equivalent to the license that was there before. In particular, they're concerned because it's a residential neighborhood, whether there would be loud music after 11 o'clock.
There's going to be no change of type from the last license. The hours of operation are going to remain exactly the same, and there will be no live music.
Have you ever had any complaints with respect to neighbors when you're holding functions?
No, we don't have any functions. We don't have a function hall there.
You don't.
So we haven't had any noise issues, parking issues, or anything like that.
Have you ever experienced any of that?
I don't live here. My parents do. For the most part, there have not been any problems, I think. For the most part. Generally, though, when there wasn't a special event, we did get a notice ahead of time, usually from the Sons of Italy. I guess the other question that they had was the license says that the only entertainment is going to be television and jukebox, and we didn't know if that was something that carried forward or if it's just at this moment in time, if there were going to be a change to live events, would there be another hearing or not?
There will be no changes. There will be no live music. It will be just the jukebox and the TV. If we were to try to have a special event, we'd have to come up here and apply specifically for that date.
Mm-hmm. And would you notify the?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you notify the neighbors?
Yes.
You would.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents that want to speak on behalf? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I have to say I don't live far from that area, and I didn't know that you had been running it for the last 6 months. And, of course, these people are abutters, and I, for the last 6 months, didn't know it was opened. I don't see the cars we used to see there, and certainly there's no seating outside. I haven't seen anyone outside. There's no license to seat.
Correct. We
Which
can't.
there used to be seating outside.
Right.
And that you would have to come back to the board and apply for seating outside if it were even allowed. But I'm happy in a way that you say you were there for 6 months, because I've kind of seen what's changed in the last 6 months, and I think it's been quiet, because I do go by there quite often. Of course, the neighbors would know better than myself, but I'm that way all the time, and it has been very quiet. But going back to the seating outside, there was seating put outside there, I guess not last year, the year before,
If I might
with
cut in.
screens.
If I might cut in, there is in the application a 15 by 15 patio showed on the side of the existing plan.
I don't see it on your application, though. You didn't apply for seating, outdoor
There is.
seating.
There is an outdoor, I believe it's 15 by 15. It should be.
But we can only
It
go
should be
by your
drawn in.
application. Your application does not say seating, outdoor seating.
I think it's drawn in on the foot plan.
But this is the application, so I wouldn't know that, and I just received this 5
Okay.
minutes ago. I didn't see that.
Okay, I'd be
I think
fine.
you would have to apply for that.
That's fine. If that's the case, that's
We
fine.
can take a vote on that, but outdoor seating.
That's fine.
Because I will say, a couple of years ago, there was outside seating, there was a big television out there
Right.
at the time, and I think it did interfere with their peace and quiet in that area. So, I mean, I would like to look at that as a separate application.
That's pretty much the last thing on my agenda right now. I just wanted to get that.
So right now, the application is, as it reads, for the all-alcoholic beverage license, your entertainment is a radio jukebox, widescreen, and that's it for entertainment. And there is no outside seating on this
Okay.
application.
So there's a motion on the table for an application for an all-alcohol license, a jukebox, and a widescreen TV, all within the confines of the club.
Correct.
Is there a second to that motion?
So Dave, just a quick question on the, so when you're not present, is there going to be a supervisor, manager, who's going to kind of,
It's just pretty much going to be a bartender.
just a bartender?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
We have a
well, I'll continue with my motion and make a motion to approve the application as submitted.
I'll second that motion.
I approve the motion.
Thank you.
Your application's passed. Recognize that your application has been approved here, but it also has to be approved by the ABCC.
Yes, I know. Thank you.
Good luck, Dave.
Next item on the agenda is Bisotiki.
Good
Please
afternoon,
state your
everyone. Chris Coleman on behalf of the applicant. I have with me here Peter Lynn. Peter is, as you may remember, he is with Utaka Buffet at 307 Squire. And the proposition is for his company to come in, or his Bisoteki Japanese Steakhouse, Inc., to come over and take over the operation of the food management and the alcohol service on the first floor of the Sheraton Four Points. The proposed hours, everything would remain pretty much unchanged. No alcohol service there till 4 o'clock. He'll come in and operate the restaurant, any service that needs to be done. The hotel is still going to operate before 4 o'clock, just for like breakfast or something like that, but he'll be handling all the alcohol thereafter. Like I said, he's got good restaurant experience. So, from 2012, he's been operating Utaka. Prior to that, he was the assistant manager at the Tokyo Steakhouse in Peabody. He's tips trained, as you're aware, U.S. citizen. He's going to be spending 40 hours plus a month there, or a week there, so he will probably have to resign his position as manager in the other location to be able to take care of this one. Even though they're close in proximity, it can't be two places at the same time, so that's what will have to happen. He's been training there since at the beginning of the year, knowing how their operation works over at the hotel, the flow of the patrons in the location. There's also an entertainment license. It's only going to be a couple of televisions in the lounge and some background music. There won't be any live entertainment proposed there. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You're taking over the lounge area that's directly across from the restaurant.
That's correct. Actually, both the restaurant and the lounge, but the alcohol's in the lounge. Looks like they serve it across the hall. They just bring it across the hall per order.
Okay. And have you had any incidents in any place that you've operated, and how would you deal with that if something did happen?
Well, all of our they haven't had any instances at Utaka, and as the assistant manager at the steakhouse, I'm familiar with their operation. They haven't had any problems there. The alcohol service is something we've talked to him several times, and I don't want to make it sound like we're a broken record with him, but he does listen to us, and we told him the importance of alcohol training for anybody that's there. So especially when you're going to be, sometimes the rooms will actually be having some service. So if there's any service at the rooms, anybody that goes to the rooms to serve will have tips training and alcohol service on site for all the employees.
How do you expect to handle functions?
There will be tips trained people all the time doing the alcohol service and serving the rooms themselves. Everything will come from the employees that are. I think there'll be a couple still from the hotel, but they'll mostly be people that they hire themselves.
Is there going to be any entertainment or anything like that going forward, differently than the way it's currently run?
Nothing different than has been there in the past. And it's mostly like just business functions more than anything else. As far as I could see, I was just over there. They had a welders group there. It was all pretty professional stuff that was going on.
I don't have any other questions.
don't have any questions. You've answered all my questions, so I don't have any additional
Yeah.
questions.
I guess I just have a question with the Sheraton, just what their rationale is to why transfer over. I'm trying to understand.
I think they want a more professional restaurant operator.
Okay.
And since it's, Busy Takey Steakhouse, and he's got the experience, I mean, they have bocce tables in there. I mean, I just walked in, I wasn't sure what it was, but almost the whole restaurant's all tables. So I think they want some professional chefs to come in there and do a good
Gotcha.
job. He has access to those.
Great. Yeah, I don't see any issues here.
Are there any other proponents that want to speak on behalf of the Bissitiki? Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion. Approved.
Your
Thank you all.
application's approved.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have a communication from William Bell. Please state your name.
William Bell, 420 Revere Beach Boulevard, Revere.
Great,
Could
thank you.
my communication be read, because I have other testimony?
Sorry?
Could my original communication to the board be read, please?
Sure. Letter to the Revere License Commission regarding the Jack Satterhouse mandatory kosher meal plan from William Bell. Dear Revere License Commission members, I am requesting that your honorable body inform me if the Jack Satterhouse 420 Revere Beach Boulevard, Revere, Mass. Has a common victualer's license. As your body may or may not know, the JSH has a mandatory kosher meal program that requires all tenants of all different religions to participate in. The cost to each tenant is $210 a month for 5 meals a week, Monday through Friday. The JSH also charges non-residents a price per meal at nighttime that exceeds what a tenant pays. On March 8, 2013, I requested to see a copy of the common victuals license from Mr. Post, Executive Director of the JSH. He informed me to put my request in writing. Many tenants have complained of the quality and the pricing of this mandatory kosher food program. The tenants are not allowed to have milk with their meals. The tenants are not allowed to have many common food items sold throughout the city of Revere with their meals. Sincerely, William Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to give the board copies of my written testimony that I'm going to be testifying on right now. Each one of you have a copy. I've been a tenant at the Jack Satterhouse since November 2010. I paid for a mandatory meal program, which was kosher food, only until September 2012. I sent the administrator, Mr. Steve Post, a certified letter in October 2012, informing him that I was not going to pay the $210 a month meal charge anymore. I explained that I felt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 186, Section 15B, prevented a landlord from charging tenants for non-related housing costs. Up until March 8, 2013, I never heard from Mr. Post regarding this issue. On March 8, 2013, I received a letter from an attorney slipped under my door by a constable. Mr. Post's attorney demanded the back food payments and also informed me of several allegations that Mr. Post has made against me, which I denied. The timing of this letter is suspect. Staff members of Congressman Edward Markey have made inquiries concerning this issue on my behalf. I have documentation that clearly shows that Mr. Post has failed to inform tenants about a religious dietary meals exemption. Now I am informed that Mr. Post does not have a common victual license to allow him to sell food to tenants and non-tenants. I previously appeared before the same board and inquired if all establishments selling food were required to have a common victual license. Then Chairman, Attorney Henneberry, responded that yes, all those selling food need a common victual license to do so. I respectfully request that this board take necessary action to protect the elderly from being exploited and discriminated against. I want to make it very clear, Mr. Chairman, I'm not suggesting that Jack Satterhouse eliminate any food program they might have. My main concern, it should be changed from mandatory to optional. That's number one. I believe in a matter of fairness, this Jack Satterhouse restaurant should have their licenses and permission posted in the dining room like most other restaurants do. There's a matter of the allergy notices required by state rules and regulations. On the menus that the Jack Satterhouse provide the tenants a week in advance, you have to fill out the menu a week in advance, there's nothing about potential allergy problems whatsoever. Every restaurant you go into, the city of Revere and other cities and towns, has notices about possible allergies. There is a state law, and I have copies of the state law regarding this whole thing. If the procedure was just changed to optional, I think it would resolve a lot of problems. I feel very comfortable in coming here and stating that out of 300 residents, Jack Satterhouse, approximately 90% want this thing changed. There are some that need food delivered to their doors. Of course, Meals on Wheels, run by James Cunningham from the Chelsea Revere Home Care Center, delivers Meals on Wheels throughout the city of Revere, and they charge a nominal fee, or they ask for a suggested donation of $2. A couple down the Satterhouse have to pay $420 a month, and most of them just can't simply make it, doing that. There are other issues here, but I know your jurisdiction is mainly with common victual licenses. So I would ask that you make a decision, and I'll go with your decision. And by the way, I want to thank your executive secretary for being very helpful with information in the past. It's a very simple matter. Does a Jack Satterhouse need a common victual license to sell to tenants and to non-tenants? The other matters of, and then if they do, then they'll be forced to go along with the United States rules of discrimination and Massachusetts rules. They may or may not do this program in another state without the same protections that Massachusetts provides. Federal Judge Young, I believe either a year ago or 2 summers ago, ruled in favor of many tenants. It's a very known court case that tenants cannot be charged mandatory fees for other than housing costs. The meals program is not a housing cost. Ironically, 35 years ago, I stood in the same area speaking up for the permits for the Jack Satterhouse when there was some opposition. Nowhere did I hear any proponents from the Jack Satterhouse, at that time was called the Revere House, say that they were going to have a forced mandatory meal program on people. Just as a little aside, Jack Anderson, a well-known investigative reporter in the 80s, did big articles on greedy landlords regarding mandatory meal programs in HUD-financed buildings. Representative St. Germain from Rhode Island was a congressman at the time. He had something inserted in a bill allowing landlords to charge. Once Jack Anderson wrote these articles, Congressman St. Germain withdrew that from his housing bill, that portion. Somehow, after 1982 or 83, it was allowed again for any buildings built before 1987. So it just seems a matter of fairness that if a building is built before 1987, the tenants are forced to do one thing. If a building is constructed in 1990, the same type of tenant isn't forced to do this. Under the false and deceptive laws of Massachusetts Consumer Protection Acts, I don't think this is acceptable. So I just ask you to make a simple decision. Do they need a common victual license, both for the tenants and the non-residents? And that's the issue. Thank you very much. I'll be free to answer any questions.
I think most of the issues that you brought up fall outside of the common victuals license. Having said that, I will take it under review. I don't think at this point in time that anybody on this board is in a position to make a decision until we have the ability to review it. Yeah, exactly. But are there any other people in support of Mr. Bell's position? Are there any opponents who want to speak on behalf of? Please step up. Right. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Steve Post. I'm the executive director of the Jack Satterhouse. I just wanted to take the opportunity to say that the Jack Satterhouse has been running a mandatory meals program for residents for close to 35 years now. The program is approved by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. We've recently had some communication with HUD prompted by Mr. Bell, which once again stated that the mandatory meals program is authorized by HUD and approved and valid. Another point is that everybody who comes into the Jack Satter House voluntarily signs an agreement to participate in the program, including Mr. Bell, and signs a lease fully acknowledging that they come in to participate in this program. Why would the program be mandatory? Well, as most people know, you can't run a restaurant without customers. We have a substantial investment in the kitchen with our staff, and if we don't have participation, then we're not going to be able to keep the program going. We make it affordable. It turns out to be $10 a month to sit down in our beautiful dining room and have a waiter and waitress come and serve you every night, salad, soup, full entree, dessert, coffee, tea, and we're serving low and moderate income seniors. Many of the seniors who participate in the program, our average age is 82. Many of them cannot shop. They can't cook and prepare their own meals. So when residents who are able to shop and cook participate in the program, they're in effect being part of a community, all working together to try to help seniors, low-income seniors. The other thing the program does that's fantastic about it, it gets people out of their apartments down into the dining room in a communal setting. The Jack Satter House was built, and I think the testimony back when the building was permanent in 1975 would show it. It was built as a congregate senior facility where there would be a real community of people working together for the benefit of all. And the meals program has been a big part of that. We don't force anybody to move into the Jack Satter House. And the meals program has been one of the things that has made the building a special place to live. It's always been a kosher meal program. As most of you know, if you're not Jewish, you can still eat kosher food. And the food's the same. There are some restrictions, but it's good quality food prepared in a beautiful kitchen facility. We've always wanted to cooperate with the City of Revere, take out any necessary licenses and permits that we are required to do so, and we'll continue to do that in the future. If it's deemed by the Commission that we need a common victualer's license, we absolutely will get that license. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. Like I said, we're willing to cooperate with you in any way possible.
Mr. Post, I have just a couple questions. Is your organization nonprofit?
Yes, the organization is a nonprofit organization.
Would you consider it a charitable organization or?
Yes, we are a charitable organization organized under Mass General laws as such, and we have, tax-exempt status with the IRS.
Great. Mr. DeCosta, would you like to come up and speak on?
I just got a quick question too, Joe.
I would like to ask a question of Mr. Post.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Just one question. Is this the chef here?
Yes.
Okay. Is he an individual that does this on his own, or is he a business?
The chef who's here today, Adelito Cunha, who is a Revere resident, is an employee of our organization. So he works for Hebrew Senior Life, which is the parent corporation of that owns Jack Satter House.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Post, I got a quick question for you. So you said it's $210 a month for 5 meals, which is approximately 20 meals a month.
Right. It actually averages out due to the length of the months to 21 meals per month on average. So that's $10 per meal.
Okay. Inflation affects everything, and I assume it affects the program too. So has this been has it always stayed at this price, or has it been inching up over time, 3%?
The
They've been
the price has gone up over the years. When I first started at the Jack Satter House in 9 years ago, the price was approximately $148. So over the last 9 years, it has gone up, typically by 3%, sometimes 5%. Sometimes we didn't have an increase, but we look at our costs like everybody else, try to look at food costs and then bump it up. The goal is to operate the program break even.
Okay. So there are no price controls or ceilings that if at some point you have to bump it up, it's your own discretion on how much based on,
We have to get approval
You do.
of the monthly meal fee from HUD every time we increase it.
Gotcha.
So every year, if I increase the price, I go to HUD and get approval before we can do it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
How many permits do you now carry for food service?
Every year we get a mailing from the city and apply for a permit a food establishment permit. And we get a permit to operate a food establishment every year. We also have a permit for milk and ice cream because we have a small store that we operate at the Jack Satter House for residents to pick up milk and small grocery products.
And how much do you pay for those permits?
$355 a year.
Great. I don't have any other questions for Mr. Post.
I would like to hear from Mr.
Mr. DeCosta?
Tony DeGosta, 281 Raleigh Bridge Road, Topsfield.
Can you just enlighten us in any way as to how these permits are given out?
Well, we issue in the Board of Health, we issue out permits to any establishment that serves food or sells food. They serve food like the other homes that they have in the city of Revere, like the Prospect House, the Lighthouse. As far as having them a common vicar license, that I don't check on that. Okay. Then also they have a Surf Safe certificate that they have to go to a course that they know how to handle the food, how to serve the food. That's posted either in the kitchen or in the dining room, as long as it's visible. So all of them all those places all have permits for me. They have a retail permit they usually get to sell food if they want to sell anything, a bottled tonic, or ice cream. Have one for ice cream, milk, and they have another one for food. And the food one goes by how many seats are in the dining room. That's why he gets it for $355, because he gets a lot of seats there.
And I know with the board, you're supposed to put these up on the wall, your certificates, or if they get it from you or they get the common vigilant from us. Is that the same through the city, that
Yes.
they should have it posted?
Yes. What you have is license, what I have is permits, they're called.
And permits are supposed to be hung on the wall for someone to see?
That's correct. And every year, they're renewed every May. And May 31st is the last day. So usually new applications go out the first week of April. And they'll apply them and send them back to us, and we send them back a new permit.
So this is all our senior buildings in the city?
That's correct.
That's how
That's
you
correct.
handle that?
Yep.
Because I know they don't, the other buildings in the city don't have common vigilant. But this is a little different, I guess. But,
Does the other places have them? The, Prospect
vigilant,
House and all those? I don't know if they need it. That's a decision that the city will make.
Well,
on
they're
that.
not selling. Common vigilant is if you're selling. And they're not, and the school department also doesn't get common vigilant license.
Right. They get,
They get through the city.
that's right, they get permits from us on the schools, the cafeterias.
Okay, just another question, just curiosity. Where does the fee come in? Who pays the fees? If it's a charitable organization, they pay a fee also?
No, the City of Revere, their schools, their cafeterias, there's no charge for them.
Okay.
All right, the place on Winthrop Ave is another one.
Rossetti's?
Rossetti,
Senior?
they don't pay. There's no charge on them. I forget, there's another one, there's ice skating rink down here or before in Revere.
The Cronin Ring,
Yeah,
right?
that's another one. There's no charge. It's a state organization.
So again, so now I'm at a crossroad again. They do pay.
Yes,
The Jaxata pays.
that's right.
The difference is from them paying a fee and another,
Nonprofit, I mean, how do you charge school kids, City of Revere schools?
no, what I'm saying,
know.
do we charge the Proctor House?
Yes,
Oh, we do?
yeah.
Okay, but that was the
Oh,
question I
Lighthouse,
wanted. Not the-
Lighthouse, the one in North Revere.
Oh, so
they're
they
all-
all pay for their permits?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I wasn't aware of how that
Yeah.
went. We say, you know, charitable organizations, the church, they come in for meals.
Right.
So, okay. Well, it's very good information. I wasn't aware
Even
of that.
St. Anthony's and St. Anthony's Church and Immaculate Church, they have a, I don't know, sometimes once in a while they have a little time at the place. I don't charge them for a permit for that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I was just wondering what the difference was.
Yeah, could go either way with it.
Well, it's been very helpful.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
okay.
Mr. Post, could I ask another question, please? Do you post your permits?
The permit to operate a food establishment and the safe serve permits are posted on a bulletin board in the kitchen office.
Okay. Do you know those have to be in an area where they can be seen?
No, I was not aware of that.
They do. Having said that, are there any other people who want to speak on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, my name is John Powers. I reside at 46 Neponset Street, Revere. I think the central question here is whether or not they're required to have a common victual license. And to my thinking, perhaps maybe there are other organizations in the city that would be required to have the same thing if they're serving food. Someone mentioned the Lighthouse Nursing Home. Well, they don't have an agreement you sign, but they certainly have a built-in price for the food in any of those establishments. The reason I'm here today is, first of all, to make sure that if they do need a common victual license, that they get it, okay? If they don't, then they don't. But in the communication that was read just a short time ago, I heard mention of the quality of food that's served in the Jaxata House. Now, I've eaten there on several occasions, and I find the food to be very good, agreeable to my diet, and I found no problem whatsoever with the food. I think this board should keep in mind also that the Jaxata House has been there for 35 years. This is the first time anyone has complained about the quality of the food or signing an agreement and paying for the food. Anyone that moves into that building signs an agreement. They know what they're signing for. Whether it's $210 or $500 a month, they know what they're signing for. And I think when you consider the building itself and the rent that's paid down there, which I understand is not a lot of money, the $210 is negligible. It's not any great amount. The Jaxata House, in my opinion, for its 320 some odd residents, provides secure, safe, and enjoyable housing for elderly citizens in this city. It's an asset to this city. In addition, they, under a Chapter 121A agreement with the city, they pay $210,000 a year in real estate taxes. So I think what we're talking about, common victual license, whatever the fee is, I don't think it's important. You just heard the Board of Health come up here, a gentleman from the Board of Health, and speak on all of the permits they have. They have a food service permit, they have an ice cream permit, they have a milk permit, And I'm sure if they felt they needed a common victual license, where they're a nonprofit, but maybe they felt they didn't, then it was just a mistake on their part. But my opinion is, if you start charging a building like that, that's providing housing for the elderly in this city, all of these different licensing fees over and above what they're already charged, I think we're making a great mistake, and we're providing a disservice to the elderly in this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman, I'd like to rebut some statements here.
Bell?
Last speaker's...
The only thing, I'd just like to say one thing, Mr. Bell and Mr. Powers. I appreciate all this information, but we only have jurisdiction over whether they should have a common victual license or they shouldn't.
And if they do, they should follow the laws of the state and the federal government.
And they should have them posted, and I agree, but all this other information is something you probably take up with the association.
I appreciate that, Commissioner Ganasso. When a tenant signs an agreement to go into the Saddle House, they are not told it's a kosher meal program. My lease and others, who I bring back in testimony, it's going to be in another agency anyway pretty soon. It says mandatory meal program. It does not say kosher meals. That is the copy of the exemptions that HUD tells them to give all tenants, whether they're subsidized or not. You notice there's only 3 possible exemptions that the tenants are told about. There's none that the federal government demands that landlords reveal to the tenants about the 4th exemption. And the 4th exemption is, if the landlord provides a religious dietary program, they must offer an alternative program or give the tenant an exemption. That doesn't have the 4th exemption. And that's right in the law, the federal law. So there's more issues here. I respect all of you very greatly. It's a common matter of fairness. There's a gentleman that had a restaurant next door. He charged $8 a meal, didn't charge a delivery charge. What wasn't brought out here is they charge, management here charges 75 cents to deliver your apartments, which is acceptable. They also charge a tenant 75 cents to pick up their own meals in the kitchen if they don't want to sit at the dining room. 75 cents for every meal. If the tenant's sitting there and they can't finish their meal, and the tenant doesn't have their own receptacle, they charge them 75 cents for the little container. I mean, come on now. It's a $23 million appraised real estate property in the City of Revere. On the City of Revere property tax rolls, right now it says 240 apartments. I think there's 266 apartments. They also sent out a fundraising letter recently saying they took a guy off the street, homeless Bob. They gave him an apartment in the Jack Satter House, and if you donate $100, that'll pay for 25 meals. And all the tenants that I talk to, and believe me, I talk to them, many of them, say, 25 meals, that's $4 a meal. We're paying $10 a meal. Now, I've talked to 4 restaurant owners in this City of Revere, and I'll verify anything I say because I don't misconstrue statements. 4 restaurant owners as recently as 2 days ago said to me, if you give me 100 people a night, I'll give the meals for $3.75, $4, something
Mr. Bell,
like
although I take your concerns at face value here, a lot of the issues that you're talking about don't fall within the licensing board's authority. Based on the information that was provided today, I would say to you that under Chapter 140, Section 21E, that they're a charitable organization and they would be exempt. And that takes into consideration any charitable organization, literary, benevolent, and religious.
Exempt for paying the fees. I don't dispute that. I came up and...
No, I didn't say the fee. What I'm talking about is they're exempt from having to get a common victualer's license. And my concern initially was if they are not required, are they going through the necessary steps through the inspectional services to do that?
I don't have any problem with the kitchen. The maintenance of the building is great. I can categorically tell you people that the majority of the people in the Satter House have constant complaints about food. There's an exemption there by the federal government that says the people, if they have a doctor's letter, should be exempt. Management has 10 days to, they don't obey it. I respect your position, but are you saying, Mr. Chairman, are you saying under Chapter, what is it, 140, 21E?
Yes.
That they don't even have to go through, any charitable organization doesn't have to go through the process to get a common victual license?
That's my understanding, Mr. Bell.
Okay. Thank you.
Having said,
I appreciate your expertise. Thank you very much for giving me the time and opportunity to address this board.
thank you. Are there any others who want to speak on this matter? Mr. Post?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to, first of all, say with all due respect that it was my understanding that this hearing was relative to the question as to whether or not the Jack Satter House requires a common victualer's license to operate the food establishment at 420 Revere Beach Boulevard. And I think it's unfortunate that Mr. Bell has been given an opportunity to malign the program and make a lot of accusations and other charges against the program in this forum. I just want to have one more chance to say that we've been running a food program there for 35 years. It's a great program. Most of the people in the building appreciate it, want to participate. We do everything we can to comply with the federal, state, and local regulations that we're required to comply with, and we'll continue to do that in the future. So, just wanted to try to stress that point before leaving today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Given the information today, I would say to you that unless other information comes forward, I don't see any other reasons that they've gone through all of the issues of taking care of inspectional services. They've spent over $300 in those fees, and barring any additional information in the future, I'd consider this issue closed.
Mr. Chairman, any chance the Secretary send me a letter to that effect?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is the American Legion Post number 61 here? Anyone representing the American Legion Post? We'll table that until the next meeting. We've got one late renewal application for 2013, Heidi's Place, common victuals license, for all the taxes and fees up to date, Joe?
That's got to be put on your agenda.
Yeah. Hearing that all the fees have been paid, I will make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
That motion has been passed. The second motion.
Second the motion.
Beautiful. Last communication was we received notice of revocation for the Giuseppe Mazzini Lodge doing business as the Sons of Italy, and I think we've heard about that today. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, April 17th. Is there a motion to adjourn until April 17th?
Motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
We'll now close that meeting.